Guruji, you can start.
Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Tadachivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. With the abundant blessings of our Acharya Swamiji, we are proceeding with our study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita with emphasis on Bhagavan Adi Shankara's Bhashya commentary. We are in chapter 10, Vibhuti Yoga, God's manifested glories, Bhagavan's manifested glories. Bhagavan started saying that he is everything, all vibhutis are his. And then he drew attention of Arjuna to certain mental qualities and certain physical features which we see around us. And he said, all this is his. Then Arjuna started responding. Yes, I know you are Parabrahma, you are Paramdhama, the supreme abode, etc., etc. This has been told to me by various rishis, including Narada and others, and you yourself have told me. Then he continues, Sarvame tadritam manye yanmam vadati kesava nahite bhagavan vyaktim vidur devana danavaha. Sarvam etad ritam manye. Whatever I have mentioned in the previous sloka, I consider that as true. I consider that as truth. That is, that you are Parabrahma, you are Paramdhama, etc., etc. Look at the way Arjuna responds with the level of openness, the level of closeness. Will any Shishya dare to talk to the Guru this way? That is the closeness of Arjuna and Krishna. They have been so close that they can take this liberty. Actually, Puranas say that Arjuna and Krishna were born as Nara and Narayana in a previous incarnation. And they both performed tapas in Badarikashrama for thousands of years. Narayana was Bhagavan's avatara and Nara became Arjuna in the subsequent birth. He was also a rishi. Both were rishis, Nara Rishi and Narayana Rishi in that incarnation. So he feels that closeness, and that is why he says, Yanmam vadasi Keshava. O Keshava, whatever you tell me, yat mam vadasi, whatever you tell me, whatever you have told me, I have already mentioned, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, etc. You yourself have told me. So whatever you have told me, all that is truth, I consider. Nahide Bhagavan Vyaktim Vidur Deva Najanavaha. Hey Bhagavan, now he has changed the address from Krishna or Keshava to Bhagavan. Hey Bhagavan, Te Vyaktim Deva Nadanavaha Viduhu. Na Deva Nadanavaha. Your personality, your power, your power. Neither Devas nor Danavas, Danavas are Asuras. Neither Devas nor Danavas, they can understand. This I know. Nahite Bhagavan Vyaktim Vidur Devana Danavaha. Danavas or Asuras born of Kashyapa and his wife Danu. That is why they are known as Danavas. Kashyapa and his wife Diti, they gave rise to Asuras. They are known as Daityas. Both are grouped as Asuras, Daityas and Danavas, born of different wives of Kashyapa. Now, this reminds me of the question yesterday put by Rajani regarding Kashyapa. I gave an answer. Then I thought about it. There could be many answers to such questions. Another plausible, because nobody would know the correct answer. It is a matter for research. Another plausible answer would be there could have been two Kashyapas. One was Kashyapa Prajapati, whom we are talking about. Another could have been Kashyapa Rishi, because common names among Prajapatis, Rishis, and others were there in Puranas. That is one possibility. Second possibility is, which is perhaps the most plausible, is that Kashyapa, Prajapati himself, came down to Kashmir. That is why Kashmir is known as Kashyapa Bhumi. Kashyapa Bhumi became Kashmir. And then he wanted certain hills which were blocking the river to be broken. And Vishnu and Shiva themselves came and broke and made way for the river to flow. This is all there in Kashmir Purana, Rajatarangini and other books. And then he created settlements for people there in Kashmir Bhumi. So it is possible that Kashyapa Prajapati married a human, ordinary human person, and then created prajas for manning that area. That is possible. That is mentioned in Kashmir Purana that he spent some time in Kashmir and he visited other places in what is now known as Uttar Pradesh. All this is recorded there. So, the same Kashyapa Prajapati, if he were to marry a human being, that human being must have been born out of Manu's lineage. Then that would form Kashyapa Gotra, obviously. So that is another possibility. There are many possibilities, so there's no need to go into that. सर्वमेतद्रुतं मन्ये यन्मां वदसि केशव न हि ते भगवन् व्यक्तिं विदुर्देवानदानवाः स्वयमेवात्मनात्मानं वेत्थत्वं पुरुषोत्तम भूतभावनभूतेश देवदेव जगत्पते. Now look at the way he is addressing Krishna. He is now convinced that Bhagavan himself is standing in front of him in human form, and he has deigned to give this great Gita Upadesha. So he is feeling gratified and he is asking questions out of that gratification. So he says, Swayameva Atmana Atmanam Vetha Tvam Purushottama. Hey Purushottama, the greatest among Purushas means what? Purusha is Paramatma associated as Pratyagatma, as Atma residing inside beings, inside living beings. It's only an understanding, apparition. There are no two Paramatmas, but for the sake of our understanding from human point of view, this difference is made. So if he was Purusha, then Paramatma, who is beyond all this creation, Satya, Chiti, Ananda, Swarupa, should be defined as Purushottama. So he says, hey Purushottama, Swayameva Atmana Atmanam Tvam Vetha. Nobody knows you, he said. Nahite Bhagavan Viktim Vidur Devana Danavas. Neither Devas nor Danavas can understand your reality. Who will understand your reality? Only you yourself can understand. Swayameva. Only you yourself. Atmana Atmanam Vetha. Through your own Atma, you will know yourself. In fact, that is a teaching for all of human beings, all of us. We should know Bhagavan only through our own Atma, inside our Atma. No external prodding can help in this process. This is a process. That is why it's called self-realization. You have to realize your own self. So that is what he is saying here. Swayameva Atmano Atman Vetha. You only know yourself through your own power. Tvam Purushottama. Tvam Niradishaya Jnanaishwarya Baladi Shaktimantam Ishwaram Purushottama. Well, I know that you are possessing extraordinary jnana, extraordinary Aishwarya, lordship, Bala, strength, Bala Adi Shaktimantam. Similarly, so many other powers you possess. So all those powers that you possess can be known only to you. How can they be known to others? Because others don't have the capacity to know. Even Devas and Danavas don't have the capacity. What about ordinary humans? Hey Bhuta Bhavana, Hey Bhutesha, Hey Devadeva, Hey Jagatpate. These are the forms of address which he is using here. Bhuta Bhavana, one who protects all beings. He is the protector of all the beings. Bhutesha, he is the Lord of all beings. Lord means he decides the fate of all the beings, how they will be born in the next birth, what is the karma phala, etc., etc. That is Ishvara. Deva Deva, he is the topmost among devas. Jagatpate, he is the Lord of all the creation, all the created worlds shall come from him, will dissolve in him. So he is Jagatpati. Swayameva Anyopadeshadikam Antarenaiva. That is, without any prodding, any help, any Upadesha from outside, you will know yourself. That is Bhagavan. Nirupadhikam Sopadhikam Che. Atmanam we say, na? Atmanam. Bhagavan has got two facets. We have seen that. One is the facet as Nirgunam, Nirupadhikam. No Upadhis. No Guna, no Rupa, no Nama. Nirguna Nirakara Swarupa. Now that is the highest. Next, there is Sopadhikam with Upadhi. That is when he takes, like Krishna, he takes a form, he takes a name, he possesses certain qualities. He attracts to himself certain qualities. This is Sopadhikam. Nirupadhikam Pratyakwena, Sopadhikam Nirdashaya Ikeshwaryadi Shaktimatvena. The Shakti which Shankara mentioned, all that is Upadhi. They are powers. When you say power, it becomes a little external. It's a attribute. Nirupadhi, that is the one. No gunas, no rupa, no nama. That is pratyakwena, internally. That you have to realize internally. That Bhagavan does. That is why Nirupadhikam, pratyakwena, sopadhikam, with this, all these powers. Both you know yourself. Both how will I know? स्वयमेवात्मनात्मानं वेत्थत्वं पुरुषोत्तम भूतभावनभूतेश देवदेव जगत्पते वक्तुमर्हस्य शेषेण दिव्याख्यात्मविभूतयः याभिर्विभूतिभिर्लोकान् इमांस्त्वं व्याप्य तिष्ठसि. Now the question comes. I want you to tell me your vibhutis. That question has come now. He created the foundation for this question in the previous slokas, that only you know yourself. For me to know, at least indicate some indicators. With these vibhutis which he is now asking Bhagavan, or indicators of the enormous, immeasurable power of Bhagavan. So he says, Vaktumarhasya sheshena divya shatma vibhutayah. Divya hi atma vibhutayah. Your own vibhutis, your own manifested glories, not unmanifested glories, not the Nirakara Nirguna Swarupa, not that. Saguna Sakara Swarupa. There are so many vibhutis. So, he is talking about that. Divya Atma Vibhutaya. Your own vibhutis, your own manifested powers, they are all divine. They are all not out of Panchabhutas. They are all not natural, not prakrita. They are aprakrita. Vaktumarhasi asheshena, completely. If you consider me as your friend, as your shishya, don't leave anything. Don't leave anything unsaid. So, Vaktumarhasi asheshena. Tell me completely. Vaktumarhasi. You should tell me. What you should tell me? Yabhir vibhodhibhir logan imam svam vyapya tishtasi. He has now made it clear. Which vibhodhis he is talking about? The hidden vibhodhis or the manifested vibhodhis? Because when he said Jnana, Aishwarya, Adi Shaktimat, they are all hidden vibhodhis. They are powers which he possesses. I am interested in what you have shown outside. Yabhir vibhodhibhihi, which are vibhodhis? Iman lokana tvam vyapya tishtasi. These worlds which you have created, you are pervading, tvam vyapya, you are pervading all these created worlds. Tishtasi, you abide. There are two things here. Vyapya tishtasi. See, the essence of Vedanta, he has brought out in two words. That is Arjuna. Bhagavan created the universe, is one thing. He can create and he can be external to the universe. No, he pervades the universe. He pervades the universe for a short time and then withdraws. No, tishtasi. He is there permanently. He pervades and remains there permanently in the universe. So this universe is your expression. I know that. But for an ordinary person like me to understand, you show me some vibhuti, some special powers which you have put out in this creation. वक्तुमर्हस्य शेषेण दिव्याख्यात्मविभूतयः याभिर्विभूतिभिर्लोकान् इमांस्त्वं व्याप्य तिष्ठसि कथं विद्यामहं योगिन् त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन् केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवन्मया. Now he is making his question even more clear. He is saying, हे भगवन्, कथं विद्यामहं योगिन् त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन्. Tvam sada parichintayanna. Even if I meditate on you continuously all the time, for me to grasp something, I need some material to grasp. Katham vidyamaham. How will I know? I am an ordinary man. How will I know? Even if I continuously meditate on you. Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintyosi bhagavanmaya. Maya keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintyaha asi. This is the crux of the question. In what forms I should think of you, because I need a form to think in my mind. Even if I continuously meditate, it is very difficult for me to think the formless, the nameless Parabrahma. Very difficult. So I need a form, I need a name. So tell me those names and forms which are useful to me for my meditation. Otherwise, it is difficult for me. Katham vidyamaham yogin tvam. How will I know you? How will I know you is the question. Even if I meditate on you continuously. Katham vidyamaham yogin tvam sada parichintayan keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintyosi bhagavan maya. विस्तरेणात्मनो योगं विभूतिं च जनार्दन भूयः कथय तृप्तिर्हि शृण्वतो नास्ति मे मृतम्. Now he is capping his question with a prayer and a praise. He says, विस्तरेण आत्मनो योगं विभूतिं च जनार्दन भूयः कथय. Hey Janardana, Bhuyaha Kathaya, tell me again. He agrees that he has already told. Has he not talked about vibhutis? 7th chapter, 9th chapter, even manifested external glories he has talked about. But that is not enough. Now tell me again. Now this time you tell me in detail. Vistarena Atmano Yogam Vibhutim Cha. Whatever powers you have, Yoga Aishwarya Shakti Vishesham, whatever Aishwarya, Lordship, whatever powers you possess, that and that power which has manifested itself for me to understand Vibhuti. So the power and the manifestation that you tell me in detail. Bhuyak kathaya, please tell me again. Triptirihi Srinvato Nasti me Amritam. Your words are Amritam to me. That is why Shankara explained in a previous sloka, Priyamanaya, he said, you are very loving to me. I love you very much. Bhagavan says to Arjuna. We saw that. And in that explanation, Shankara said why he called him Premana. Because Arjuna considered his word as Amritam. He mentioned it. Now that expression has come. Your words are Amritam to me. And will anybody say, yes, yes, enough of this Amritam? Nobody will say. This Amritam is, I cannot, it is insatiable. Satrihi Shanvato Nasti. Listening again and again, Shanvataha. Nasti Triptihi. Na Triptihi Asti. I don't feel satisfied. This is insatiable. This Amritam, what you are pouring out for me, is insatiable. So please tell me again what your vibhutis are. Now the term Janardana has been interpreted, though term must have come earlier also. Now Shankara takes his own occasion to interpret. He gives two interpretations. One is अर्धतेः गतिकर्मणः रूपम् असुराणां देव प्रतिपक्षभूतानां जनानां नरकादिगमयितृत्वात् जनार्दन. Jana Ardana. Ardha has got two different meanings. First meaning is Gati, that is moving from place to place. Asuras, for against Devas, Bhagavan sees that they go to Naraka and other such places. Naraka the Gamayatritvat. Gamana is the meaning of Ardha. So Naraka the Gamayatritvat Janardana. So he feels that evil forces are punished properly. That is one meaning. They go to Naraka, etc. Abhyadaya Nishreyasa Purushartha Prayojanam Sarvaihi Janaihi Yachyate iti va. The second meaning is Yachana, begging. First meaning was sending on movement. Second meaning is begging. People beg Ardha, Jana Ardhana, begged by people. For what? Abhyadaya Nishreyasa Purushartha Prayojanam. Everybody wants Abhyadaya and Nishreyasa. That is material prosperity as well as happiness in the other world, that is Nishreyasa, can be extended to Moksha. Abhyadaya Nishreyasa Purushartha Prayojanam. All Purusharthas, all the four Purusharthas, people beg of you. So you are the one whom people beg. So Janardana. Amritam, Tvammukha Nishrita Vakyamritam. The Amrita which is emanating from your mouth. Now here, there is a commentator who gives a beautiful extension to this. He says he listens to Amritam. Amritam is to be eaten, isn't it? Amritam is to be eaten. Devas eat Amrita. They live long. They never die. That is the very meaning of the word Amrita. One which makes you not die. So here he is not having any Amritam to eat. He is having Amritam only to listen. Shrinvato nasti me Amritam. So the interpretation is Shabda Shakti, the power of words. Shabda Shaktehi Achintyatvat Shabdadev Aparokshadhihi. The power of Shabda is immeasurable. Because in fact, Veda is known as Shabda Brahma. Veda itself is Parabrahma and it is known as Shabda Brahma because it is in the form of words. Brahman can be in any form. We are going to see so many vibhutis. Veda is in the form of Shabda, and that is what has created the whole world, we said. then actually that has the highest importance, isn't it? In the order of creation. Shabda came first. Shabdadeva aparokshadhihi. Whatever was difficult to understand has become easy to understand only because of Shabda. Prasupta Purusho Yadvat Shabdeneva Avabudhyate. He is giving an example. The commentator gives an example saying, if somebody is sleeping, how do you wake him up? By making Shabda, by calling him out, isn't it? So sound is the first preference for waking a person from sleep. Similarly, we are all sleeping in Ajnana. For us to be woken up into Jnana, you need Shabda, which is Shabda Brahma, which is Veda, which is Upanishad. Now that, because Bhagavan is giving out the same, this essence of those very words in Upanishad, this is Shabda Brahman. That is why he is calling it as Amritam. विस्तरेणात्मनो योगं विभूतिं च जनार्दन भूयः तृप्तिर्हि श्रुत्वतो नास्ति मे मृतम् श्रीभगवानुवाच हन्तते कथयिष्यामि दिव्याख्यात्मविभूतयः प्राधान्यतः कुरु श्रेष्ठ अस्त्यन्तो विस्तरस्य मे. Now Bhagavan is replying to these questions. Though Arjuna took liberty to say Sarvameta Dhrutam Manye. Yes, I consider all this as truth. I consider, he says, Manye. He didn't say I am accepting all this is truth because you have said it. That is indirectly accepted. But directly what he said was, I consider whatever you said as truth. That means he is exercising his brain for sifting truth from untruth. When Bhagavan has said it has to be truth only, where is the question of untruth? That is the closeness. That is the use of the intellect for the intellectual Shishya. So, even then, even if that is the way Bhagavan has, Arjuna has framed his question, Bhagavan, how he replies, you see, look at his love for Arjuna. Antate kathayishyami divyakhyatma vibhutaya. He starts with Hanta. Hanta is an exclamation. It's not a meaningful word. Oh well, like that, which is used only with a close friend. Hanta. Oh well, look, now I am going to tell you. Te kasayishyami, I am going to tell you. Divyakhyatma vibhutayaha. All vibhutis of mine, which are divine, I am going to tell you. Where am I going to tell you all of them? Not possible. Pradhamyata Kurushrestha Nastyanto Vistarasya me. Hey Kurushrestha. Hey, the best among Kurus. Pradhanyataha Kathayishyami. Important ones I will list. Nastyanto Vistarasya me Vistarasya Antaha Nasti. Because he said, na Vistarena Atmano Yogam. So he is answering that. He is saying it is not possible to cover everything in detail. It's not possible. This has been interpreted as Asheshastu Varshashatenapi Navakya Shakya Vaktum. Even if I spend hundreds of years, I will not be able to cover in detail. So, that is how Bhagavan Shankara says, even if I spend hundreds of years, I will not be able to cover all the details. So, Pradhanyata Kurushrestha, important ones I will list. Hantate Kathayishyami Divyakhyatma Vibhutayah Pradhanyata Kurushrestha Nastyanto Vistarasya me Ahamatma Gudakecha Sarvabhuta Jayasthitaha Ahamadishkamadyancha Bhutanamantayeva. This has been mentioned earlier many times. Now, because this is the starting point, because he said Bhuvayeva. He does not mind Bhagavan repeating, so he repeats. Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarvabhuta Jayasthitaha. Hey Gudakesha. Gudakesha means one who has conquered sleep. Such a difficult thing Arjuna has done, and Bhagavan is giving the credit. Hey Gudakesha. Gudaka is Nidra. Tasyaha Yeshaha Gudakeshaha. The one who has conquered sleep. Hey Gudakesha. Aham sarvabhuta ashaya sthitaha atma. Sarvabhuta ashaya in all beings. Sarva, all beings, no exception. In all beings, and inside them, ashaya, as a resting place, as a residing place, inside all living beings, as what? As Atma, as the one power, which powers all beings. I am that power. Ahamaadishkamadhyance bhutanamanta eva cha. I am the origin of all beings. Bhutanam adihi. Bhutanam madhyam. I am the middle of all beings. I am the end of all beings. This beginning, middle, and end is for a normal human being to understand, because for every event, because we know only events, isn't it? We know that a person is born. We know that a person dies. We know that a person grows. These are events of development in humans. Similarly, day to day life. Everything is covered by discrete events. An event has got a beginning, a middle, and an end. We all know it. That is why he is saying, whatever you find, either outside you or in your own case, you have beginning, you have middle, you have end. All that is mine. That is, don't think that I am only the beginning and the end. In the middle, I am not there. I am there every time, everywhere. That is why when humans face difficulties, we should call upon Bhagavan, because he is there all the time. There is no time when he is not with us. There is no time when he has not given the power for us to act, because he is there all the time. That is the indirect meaning. Direct meaning, of course, is that he is the one who creates all the beings. He is the one who resolves all the beings at the time of final resolution. And when all the beings are having their lives on various planets, he is the one who sustains them. But this can be interpreted in both ways. Pratyagatma nityam dheyaha ahamatma. Shankara explains that I am the Atma inside every being, Sarva Bhutaka Sthitaka, Nityam Dheyaha, always to be meditated upon. Because you are saying you are not able to meditate on me all the time, as Nirakara Nirabrahma, Uttareshu Bhaveshu Chintyaha Aham. Because of your question, I am giving you some indicators where you can meditate. The first indicator is I am the source origin, I am the middle, and I am the end of all the beings. Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarvabhutasaya Sthitaha. Ahamaदित्यमध्यं च भूतानामन्तयेव च आदित्यानामहं विष्णुः ज्योतिषां रविरंशमान् मरीचिर्मरुतामस्मि नक्षत्राणामहं शची. Now he has started listing various vibhutis one by one, which you can easily understand, you can easily bring to your mind while contemplating. Adityanam aham Vishnuhu. I am Vishnu among Adityas. Aditya is Surya. Surya is in 12 forms, Dvadasha Adityaha. And each form comes out in every month. There are 12 months in a year, and each form is an expression of one of those 12 Adityas. Who are those Adityas? Vishnu, Shakra, Aryama, Dhata, Tvashtra, Pusha, Vivaswan, Savita, Mitra, Varuna, Amshu. Amshu means ray of the sun. Bhaga. Bhaga is the brilliance. Now these are the 12 Adityas, and out of them, he is saying, if you want to choose one among the 12, I am Vishnu, Aditya, who is called Vishnu. Now Vishnu is the Aditya for the month of Pausha, what is known as Tai in Tamil. Pausha Masa. That is the beginning of Uttarayana, because it is the beginning of Uttarayana, and the heat is less, and also, this is with reference to the month. And Vishnu also refers to Vamana Aditi's son, because Vishnu took the form of Vamana, born of Kashyapa and Aditi, like Devas. And because he was born after Devas, he was known as Upendra, younger brother of Indra. So that Vishnu also you can take, because that Vishnu was born on this Pausha month. So Adityanam Aham Vishnu Jyotisham Raviram Suman. Jyotish, out of the luminescent objects, brilliant objects. Amshuman Ravihi, I am Surya, who is having thousands of rays. Amshu is rays. With those rays only he is giving out light which spreads to the farthest corner. That is why he is known as Amshuman. I am the radiant sun with thousands of rays. Marichir Maruta Masmi. There are devatas called Marut devatas, which are wind. Marut is wind. That is why Hanuman is known as Maruti, because he was born of Vayu. Marut is Vayu. There are 49 Marut devatas. There's a story behind it. We will not go into that. How Indra created these 49. There was only one Marut devata. He broke them into 49 because he was worried that they will become asuras, because he wanted them to be in Deva group. That is why he did that. Anyway, so these 49 Marut devatas, I am the Marut devata called Marichi. Marichi, actually, the word Marichi means one who is brilliant. There are names of all the 49 Marut devatas given in Puranas. Nakshatranam aham shashi. Out of all the nakshatra stars, I am moon. Moon among stars. That is very easy to understand. Adityanam aham Vishnu Jyotisham Raviram Suman Marichir Marutam Nakshatranam aham shachi Vedanam Tamavedosmi Devanam asmi Vasavaha Indriyanam Manaschasmi Bhutanam asmi Chetanam. Vedanam Samavedosmi. Out of all the Vedas, I am Samaveda. There are 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda. Out of 4 Vedas, Bhagavan is picking up Samaveda. In fact, if you see any Devata Stotra, whether it is Shiva Stotra, whether it is Vishnu Stotra, whether it is Devi Stotra, whether it is Ashtotra Sadanama Stotra, whether it is Sahasranama Stotra, one name will definitely be there. That Devata loves Samaveda. Samaveda Priyaha. Why? Gana Madhuryena Ati Ramaniyaha Samavedaha. Madhusudana Saraswati gives this explanation. Why Bhagavan has picked up Samaveda? Well, it is easy to understand, because when you recite Samaveda, it is musical. In fact, all music is born out of Samaveda. Samaveda, every Veda has got a Upaveda. Yajurveda has got a Upaveda of Dhanurveda, archery. Similarly, what is the Upaveda of Samaveda? Gandharva Veda is the Upaveda of Samaveda, which is music. And dance came out of Gandharva Veda. Music and dance, essentially music, come from Samaveda. So it is musical. Sweet music, Gana Madhuryena. Ati Ramaniyaha, very attractive to the mind. That is why he is picking up that. And another one which is very striking in Samaveda, if you have listened to Samaveda recitations, you will find that they repeat words and they use expressions like how, like that. This how comes repeatedly. and the words are repeated. This repetition of words and this expression, how, etc., there are similar other expressions. What do they mean? This has been interpreted by scholars as because all these are associated with forest life. All the rishis were living in forests. That is where Vedas have developed. Where the mantras were seen by them in their meditation in their forest life. Having seen the Veda mantra, they were overwhelmed by what they saw and they gave expression to that and they went on from place to place reciting that. See, when you are overwhelmed by something, very much impressed by something, you will repeat. That is what they have done. And how is an expression of wonder. How, Suryoti, he says. Everything is Jyoti. Everything is Sarga Jyoti. Whatever I see around me, that is the kind of delirium, kind of thrill that the Rishi experiences. So all this is there only in Samaveda. Rigveda, Yajurveda. In fact, Samaveda derives from Rigveda. Most of the rits which are in Rigveda have been converted into Samaveda with music. Only very few are added in Samaveda as extra rits. This all has been found by scholars. So what distinguishes is the music, is the expression. Vedanam Samavedosmi Devanam Asmi Vasavaha. Out of Devas I am Indra. Well, that is clear. Vasava is Indra. Indriyanam Manaschasmi. Out of all the Indriyas. Indriyas are five. Five sense organs. Karmendriya and five Jnanendriyas. Five Jnanendriyas we know. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. The one which used for hearing, the ear, the eye, the nose, the mouth for taste, and the hands for touching. So this is Jnanendriya. Karmendriyas also, we know. The hands, the feet, the mouth, the generative organ and the excretory organ. These are the five Karmendriyas. So he says, out of all the Indriyas, I am Manas, I am the mind. Because Manas is added as the 11th Jnanendriya, 11th Indriya. Five Jnanendriyas, five Karmendriyas, 11th is the Manas. So it is the mind which takes impressions from what the Indriyas convey. Indriyas only convey. They are like postmen. It is the mind which absorbs the impressions and whether it likes or whether it doesn't like, it comes to that position. That position is taken by the mind. If the mind is absent, even if you see something, you won't see. If the mind is absent, even if you hear something, you won't hear. Sometimes it happens. Hey, what did you say 5 minutes ago? Because we were absent-minded, we say. The mind was absent. So it is the mind which controls everything, so it doesn't need any explanation. So Indriyanam Manaschasmi Bhutanam Asmi Chetanam. In all beings, no exception, in all living beings, I am Chetana. Chetana is what distinguishes. Chetana cannot be translated actually in English. People are translating as intelligence, consciousness, etc. You can take it as consciousness. If you have Chetana, you are able to do things. You are able to move, you are able to speak, you are able to eat. All that is Chetana. If you don't have Chetana, you are Jada, inert. You cannot eat, you cannot do anything. So that is the opposite of Jadya, Chetana. So who is giving you that Chetana? Because that is something which we live constantly with. So that is the Vibhuti which we can easily identify ourselves with. That is why he started listing simple Vibhutis like Surya, like Nakshatra, because we observe. Vedas, we hear. Devas, we hear again and again. Manas, we live with it. Indriyas, we live with it. And Chaitana, we constantly live with it. Even during sleep, you are conscious. That is why you have dreams. If your mind is absent, you cannot have dreams. So you are conscious. Even in deep sleep, Atma is present. Consciousness is present. Otherwise, you will be dead. वेदानां सामवेदोऽस्मि देवानामस्मि वासवः इन्द्रियाणां मनश्चास्मि भूतानामस्मि चेतना रुद्राणां शङ्करश्चास्मि वित्तेषु यक्षरक्षसां वसूनां पावकश्चास्मि मेरुशिखरिणामहम् रुद्राणां शङ्करश्च अस्मि एकादश रुद्रास् there are 11 rudras who are known as Rudra Ganas. Vasu, Rudra, Aditya. There are 3 Ganas which come frequently in our prayers. In the yagas which we conduct, Vasu, Rudra, Aditya or invoke. Similarly, in the Shraddhas which we perform, we invoke Vasu, Rudra, Aditya. There, of course, the immediate predecessor Pita is Vasu, Pitamaha is Rudra, and Prapitamaha is Aditya. That is how there it is termed. So coming back to 11 Rudras, whenever we do Rudra Homa, you will find it is always in terms of 11. 11 people perform Rudra Japa. They invoke 11 Rudras. And if you do it 11 times, then it is called Ekadashi Rudra. If 11 groups do it, then it is Rudra Ekadashini. If it is multiplied by further 11, then it is Maharudra. If it is multiplied by further 11, it is beyond Maharudra. So like this, you have 11. It starts with basic 11 Rudras. Now, who are those 11 Rudras? The names of those 11 Rudras. This varies from Purana to Purana, document to document. What is commonly known is this list. Veerabhadra, Shambhu, Girisha, Ajayakapada, Pinaki, Bhavanesha, Kapali, Dikpati, Sthanu, Shankara. Shankara is the Rudra whom he is choosing. Rudranam Shankarashtasmi. I am Shankara out of all Rudras. Shankara means one who does good to you, one who brings auspiciousness to you. Shamkaroti iti Shankaraha. So, Shambhu is also there in this list. One who is auspicious, one who gives auspiciousness is Shankara. So he chose because he wants to bestow auspiciousness on all beings. That is done by Shankara. So I am that Shankara. With Teso Yaksharakshasam, as we have seen, these vibhutis are pointers. They are not exhaustive. It doesn't mean all the other Rudras we don't bother about. No, all Rudras are equal. For us to pick up one, for ease of understanding, he is picking up all this. With Tesho Yaksharakshasam, out of Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am Kubera. Vitesha is Kubera, Lord of wealth, Ishvara of wealth, Vitta is wealth. He possesses all wealth. And he is the head of Yaksha group. He is the head of Yaksha group. Yakshas are a class among Devas. Rakshasas are not among Devas, but somehow there is a tendency in Puranas to group Yakshas and Rakshasas. Though Yaksha belongs to Deva group, Rakshasa belongs to Asura group, but they have some common characteristics. That is why they are grouped together. Maybe Yaksha is the lowest form of Deva. So there are again categories among Devas also. Now, out of all these Yaksha-Rakshasas, Kubera, because everyone needs wealth, so Kubera. Vasunam Pavagashyasmi, there are 8 Vasus. Vasu, Rudra, Aditya, we said, prime devatas in worship. So Vasu, Vedic worship. In Vedic worship, these are the three prime devatas. There were 8 Vasus. Dhruva, Adhara, Apa, Soma, Anala, Anila, Pratyusha, and Prabhasa. In fact, out of these 8 Vasus, some people regard the 5 elements, Prithvi, water, air, Agni, space. These are the 5 Panchabhutas. These Panchabhutas are regarded as Panchavasus. In fact, in this list also, some of them are there. Anala, Anila, the Agni and the air. Apa, water is there. The other are not there. But there are some different groups are being made out of Vasus. Now, out of these Vasus, Pavaka is Agni, the one which purifies. The word Pavaka means the one which purifies. Out of all purifying elements, out of these Vasus, I prefer Pavaka, Agni, because it is Agni which is basic to our life, according to Veda, according to Bhagavad Gita. Because everything started with Agni, if you remember. We perform yagas and devas are pleased. They get their food because of the ahutis, which we offer through Agni, and then they give us rain, and that is the cycle. That's what Bhagavan explained in chapter 2. So, he prefers Agni out of all the Vasus, out of the 8 Vasus. Meru Shikharinamaham. Shikhari means mountain, one which has a Shikhara. So, Meruhu Shikharinam Aham. Out of all the mountains, I am Meru mountain. Why Meru mountain? Meru is esoteric. We have not seen, we cannot see the mountain, but it exists. That is the tallest mountain, and that is the mountain on which Devatas live. All the Devatas, including Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Devi, all of them have their residences on the top of the Meru mountain. And all the planets go around Meru mountain. That is why when you do Navagraha Homa, you will find all these 9 planets, grahas, are invoked. At that time, the mantra which invokes Shukra, Angaraka, etc., they will say, the mantra says, it goes around Meru. Some of them go around in clockwise manner, some of them go in anti-clockwise manner. That is also mentioned in the mantra. So all the nakshatras, all the planets go around Meru, including Surya. Surya also goes around Meru. Another important thing is, in our human body, there are 3 nadis which control everything. Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. Sushumna is the in-between one. Ida and Pingala are the left and right ones. Now, this Sushumna nadi is known as Merudandam in Kundalini Yoga. These are the terms used. It is known as Merudanda. In fact, our spine is where this Sushumna nadi is supposed to be traveling. So, that is, spine is associated with Merudanda. Another meaning is Sri Chakra, which is the embodiment of Devi, which is used in Devi worship. The Sri Chakra is itself known as Meru because it resembles the Meru Shikhara where Devi lives in the Meru mountains. That is known as Meru, the Sri Chakra. Purna Meru, Ardha Meru, etc. are there in Devi worship. So Meru, out of all the mountains. Rudranam Shankarashasme Vittesho Yaksharakshasam Pasunam Pavakashasme Meru Shikharinamaham Purodhasam Chamukhyam Vam Vidyapartha Brahaspatim Senaninam Aham Skandaha Sarasam Asmi Sagaraha. Purodhas is Purohit. the priest, the family priest. What is the difference between Purohit and Purodhas? Shankara makes a distinction. He says Raja Purohits are Purodhas. Those who are Purohitas for kings, they are priests for kings. They are Purodhas. There may be many kings, there may be many priests. Out of all those Purodhasas, I am choosing Brihaspati. Mukhyam. Purodhasam cha Mukhyam Mam Vidhi Partha Brihaspatiam. Out of all the Raja Purohitas, the most important one, Mukhyam, is Brihaspati. Please understand. Mam Brihaspatim Vidhi. Please understand me as Brihaspati. Brihaspati is the guru of Devas. That is why he is choosing Brihaspati. And he is also one of the Navagrahas. Brihaspati is known as Guru, also known as Guru. Senaninaamaham skandaha sarasamasmitagaraha. Senani, that is army commander. Out of all the army commander, every army has got a commander, every king has got an army, every army has got a commander. Out of all the army commanders, I am Skanda, Subramanya. Why? Because he is Deva Senapati. He is the army commander for Devas. And he is the commander who vanquished the Asuras. And he only was required. Even Shiva, even Vishnu, even Devi could not do this. That is why they created Subramanya. Shiva and Parvati created Subramanya because it was only Subramanya who could have vanquished Shurapadma and the Asuras. So that is the greatness. Now, I want to digress a little bit here from Skanda Purana because in Skanda Purana there is a story which all of us know when Subramanya imprisoned Brahma, put him behind bars for not being able to explain correctly the meaning of Omkara. We referred to it in an earlier lecture, I think. Now, this he did without the knowledge of Shiva, without the permission from Shiva. Later on, when all creation stopped because Brahma was behind bars, then Subramanya started doing the creation himself. Then that was not acceptable. He created all Rudraganas. All of them looked like Rudras, not the usual creation. At this point, Devas came and reported to Shiva. That is the point at which Shiva came to know. Then Shiva immediately rushed to the prison and told Subramanya to release Brahma. Unwillingly, he released him. He was not willing to release him, but because Shiva requested him, he released him. He came back. Shiva came back to Kailasa. And then Parvati asked, it's a very interesting development in Skanda Purana. Parvati asked him, where were you rushing? Normally, when you go out, you tell me where you are. This time you rushed. You didn't even tell me where you are going. Then Shiva replied, yes, this is the sequence. I had to rush to release Brahma from prison. That is why what? Subramanya put Brahma behind bars. I cannot believe it. This was Parvati's reaction. I mean, these are all leelas. We should not take them at face value. That is how leelas are enacted in Puranas. So, this was the expression of surprise from Parvati. Then Shiva, one whole chapter, he describes the greatness of Subramanya. In fact, two chapters. One chapter, he gives various names of Subramanya and he gives explanation for the various names. Second chapter, he gives the vibhutis, exactly like the vibhuti yoga which we are going through here. Subramanya is also given the same vibhutis in another chapter called Vibhuti Yoga there. In the first chapter, where he is describing the explaining the various names, he is explaining the name Senani, he is explaining the name Skanda. What is the explanation given by Shiva to Parvati? Deva Vishnu Mukhaloke Yasya Sena Prakirtitaha Dukkhantam Anayattasam Senani Parikirtitaha. Subramanya is known as Senani, the commander, for this reason, not because he commanded Devasena during the war with Surapadma, which is normally what is understood. That is not the real meaning. What is the real meaning? I am telling you. Deva Vishnu Mukhaloke Yasya Sena Prakirtitaha. His Sena includes all Devas, including Vishnu. Dukkhantam Anayattasam. And he brought the end of their grief. Because even Vishnu had to go and plead with Shiva for the birth of Subramanya. All this is listed there. Because Shiva had not even married, he was separated. Then Parvati Vivaha had to take place. Then Subramanya had to be born. So Vishnu was pleading for all this at the head of all the Devas. So he says, Dukkhantam Anayattasam. So he brought the end of their misery. Subramanya brought the end of their misery. That is why he is known as Senani. He is the head of all the Devas, including Vishnu. Then what is Skanda? Akramishra Skanda Vikramena Jagatrayam Tena Skandoyamakshatah Sutaste Giri Sambhave Te Sutaha Skandaha Yati Akshatah. How nicely Shiva puts it to Parvati. Your son is known as Skanda. Hey Giri Sambhave, hey daughter of Himavan. For this reason, what is the reason? Now Skanda as a root, as a verb, as a dhatu, has got several meanings. One meaning is spreading and attacking, spreading yourself. Akramye eto skanda vikramena jagatrayam. Vikramena, by his valor, jagatrayam, all the three worlds, he attacked. He spread himself and attacked. That only he could do. Because Surapadma was such an enemy, such a powerful enemy, because he was traveling from world to world. That is all described in the war. It was not confined only to earth. He was going to other Brahmandas. Not only this Brahmanda, he was going to other, he had that power. He was the sole lord of 108 Brahmandas, Surapadma. That was the boon he had got from Brahma. So that means Skanda had also to rush from Brahmanda to Brahmanda to chase him and to overpower him. Akramyeto Skanda Vikramena Jagatrayam. That is why he is known as Skanda. Sarasamasmi Sagaraha. I am ocean among all the lakes. Saras means lake, water reservoirs. Out of all the lakes, water reservoirs, I am the ocean. That is obvious. No lake can be compared with ocean. In fact, ocean is always given as an example for Gambhirya. Sagara eva Gambhiryam. This is a common expression used when describing great personalities. Gambhira, that is majesty. In the case of Sagara, it is depth. In the case of persons, it is majesty, the depth which they have possessed. So Rama has been described like this in Ramayana. Sagara eva Gambhirya. So that is why Bhagavan says, Sarasam asmi Sagaraha. Surodatam cha mukhyam mam vetti partha brihaspatim senaneenam aham skandaha sarasam asmi Sagaraha. We stop now. We will take up 25 sloka number 25 in our next session, next Saturday at 7:30 p.m. IST. Any questions?
Those who have questions, please unmute yourself, turn on your video and ask questions. Any questions, anybody? Any questions? No questions, please.
No questions. We close and we meet again next Saturday at 7:30 p.m. IST. Namah Parvati Pataye Har Har Mahadeva Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam Govinda Govinda Shri Mahatripura Sundaryai Jaya Jaya.
Thank you, Guruji.